Anthony Joshua leaving his shirt on to the last possible moment. It has cooled off here quite a bit. All the anticipation, all that's been written and said. 6 months, 6 days later, the rematch is on. Heavyweight championship of the world. We are ready for the clash on the dunes.
There is no outcome you could suggest that I would find implausible.
Here we go, round number 1. Or as Andy Ruiz's corner says, round 8, trying to pick up where they left off 6 months ago.
And already I see a difference in Joshua. He already feinted. First 10 seconds, we got a quick little feint, bouncing on his toes.
The question is, can Anthony Joshua box at long range? That is not his strength, but it's going to have to be here tonight to take his titles back from Ruiz. A dangerous man at close range. Joshua able to tap him with a hook. You can see the extra weight on Andy Ruiz. He is nearly 16 pounds heavier than he was back in New York City. We weren't sure if the crowd was going to be loud, but they are.
Not even a minute in, and I already love the strategy of Anthony Joshua. He's not letting Andy Ruiz plant his feet. He's pivoting and feinting. He's already thrown 4 foot feints. I love it.
Joshua says, hey, I'm 6'6", 6'7". I need to engage at my benefit. He didn't do that at the Garden after he got the early knockdown in the 3rd round. He went in for the kill, and he went in against a very dangerous and game Andy Ruiz. That cost him. Now he's going to be much more careful.
You know, both these fighters said during the build-up they want to control the center of the ring. That's where they want to call home. We'll see who can do it.
Ruiz is marching forward as he was in New York 6 months ago, stalking. Ruiz, you can see the body, the physique is much lighter. I mean, he is full 11 pounds lighter, and he was already in tremendous physical condition, but he needs to box. Right hand blocked by Joshua. Ruiz coming in, still fluid with his punches.
Yeah, and Anthony Joshua can thank Vladimir Klitschko for that new physique. Klitschko told him, look, stay away from the weights. You look like a CrossFit champion, focus more on the boxing, and Joshua told me that boxing has shaved a lot of that weight off.
Right hand from Joshua, that landed.
Joshua said he was going to try to keep this fight in the middle of the ring, but right now that's Andy Ruiz's territory. He hasn't left the middle of the ring.
Yeah, but he's picking him apart from outside, Sergio. That's it. He's able to keep him at bay with that jab and then pop him with that one right hand. That is a recipe for success. Final minute of round number 1, and Anthony Joshua, true to his word, is boxing. Does he have the discipline to do it all night?
Anthony Joshua is staying in the perimeter of the ring, but inside the middle of that ring, it's all Andy Ruiz. But this was a good first round for Anthony Joshua. Boxing, sticking and moving, doing things I didn't think he had in his arsenal, which is foot feints and boxing on the outside.
Certainly Joshua with a lot more respect for Ruiz this time around. That's obvious, but it has to play itself out in the ring. Ruiz tries a right hand, and he eats a right hand from Joshua. Oh, and that's cut him as well. There's blood now, and that looks like it's on the eyelid. Just above the left eye, that's in a bad spot. Joshua firing off a right hand, and that opens up the champ.
And let's see if Joshua remains composed. He already cut Ruiz with the first right hand, but he has to stay disciplined.
Ruiz also, he has great fighting spirit, that much we know, but he's heavier. He doesn't seem to be as aggressive here, and Joshua is able to control things at range there in round 1.
Look for Ruiz to throw more right hands to the body to try to stop the movement of Joshua.
Joshua told us, I have to box to my plan, and opportunities will present themselves. He said in the first fight, he went looking for openings, and that's what put him in a dangerous position. Certainly that happened in round 3 back in New York City.
Joshua boxing nicely, subtle foot feints. He has a good rhythm in his upper body, but right there he kept his chin a little bit too high, got caught with 2 jabs.
2 nice fast jabs from Andy Ruiz landing on the challenger. Yeah, Ruiz will make you pay if you lose that discipline, even for a second. Even at this weight, he comes in heavy against 16 pounds heavy. It was Buster Douglas who came in 15 pounds heavy against Evander Holyfield, and he got starched. And that's another hard right hand, and that opens up the cut.
And not for nothing, Brian, but they expected this in Ruiz's corner. Manny Robles told us, yes, the first half of the round, expect Joshua to look good, but can he do it for 36 minutes? Can he do it for 12 rounds?
That was a good stick right there from Joshua. Hard jab that drove back Ruiz temporarily. Ruiz, though, is always advancing. Very game.
And this is how the first fight started. Joshua was moving around, not as much as he is now, not as fluid, but Ruiz was finding the range, and right now, Ruiz is finding the range.
And Joshua there with a quick hook able to land on Ruiz. They exchange punches, but Joshua with the hook.
Yeah, and Sergio, he is far more effective, Joshua, that is, with that jab that we saw in the first fight.
This is much more of what you would think would be the amateur British style. Another beautiful jab. However, even though he was a gold medalist, Anthony Joshua was not the classic British fighter.
Brian, that's a great observation. If you notice, he's flicking that jab with speed. He's not putting a lot of power into it, because if you put power behind jabs and you miss, you fall off balance, and that's when you get trapped by Andy Ruiz's faster hands.
There he goes right there with the right hand once again. Joshua seems to have some blood now over his left eye. Both men have been cut.
And that Joshua cut, just from the eyeball test here, looks like it's in a worse spot than Andy Ruiz's.
Blood has been drawn for both fighters here. It's only round 2, final 30 seconds. But you see a skinny, fluid Anthony Joshua able to box at range so far against the champion Andy Ruiz. Ruiz now gets him on the ropes. Again, he's going to have to take advantage of those opportunities.
As soon as Joshua gets near the ropes, he better choose a side, left or right, but do not stand in front of Andy Ruiz.
Joshua able to land with a hook. Not very hard, but able to touch the face of the champion.
I would love to see Joshua throw jabs to the torso of Ruiz, to the stomach.
But if you leave yourself open for a moment, well, look, we saw the hook, we saw the right hand, the hook in round 3, the right hand in round 7 back at Madison Square Garden. Ruiz is a dangerous man, even at this weight, even though he's much more of a plodding heavyweight here tonight in the desert.
And this is the reason Andy Ruiz is so dangerous. He's not a mover. He doesn't use his legs, but he has extremely fast hands. The middle of the ring, he's not cutting the ring off, but he's actually chasing Joshua down.
You know, one of the things Ruiz said this week is that he wants to present as small a target as possible for Joshua. So when Joshua throws those big shots, he wants Joshua punching down as much as he can.
Ruiz tries the right hand to the body. Again, this is a lithe, skinny Anthony Joshua. Look at him jump back from that right hand.
Ruiz needs to double jab his way in to land those right hands. He needs to aim the right hand to the chest or the stomach. Avoid the head right now, but he needs to double with jab his way in.
And Joshua has a nice range on that jab as well. He's able to pop that head and find the head of Andy Ruiz on what I would say a semi-regular basis. It's not like he's schooling him, but he's doing just enough to win these rounds.
No, he's keeping him at bay. And the only way that the smaller, shorter Ruiz is going to close that is by double jabbing his way in. And he has the fast feet to do it.
This is a 22-foot ring. This is a large ring. There's a lot of space for Joshua to navigate. Remember, that's what Sugar Ray Leonard did, dictating terms to Marvelous Marvin Hagler when they fought for the middleweight title back in the 80s. You want more space to dance and move if you're the boxer. Joshua now digging in the hook to the body, able to get a little braver.
Anthony Joshua is not letting Andy Ruiz plant his feet. That's the game plan. That's the strategy. Can he continue doing this? Because right now, he's boxing beautifully.
First 3 rounds are a boxing clinic by the Brit. Number 4, Chris Mannix, you have it all for Joshua?
Yeah, all 3 rounds for Anthony Joshua. The jab is his most effective weapon so far in this fight. And while Ruiz is probing, he still hasn't landed any significant big shots.
Ruiz is stalking, but he's not jabbing his way in. He's just following Joshua, and that's the reason he's not being successful.
Again, this is a legacy fight, mostly for Anthony Joshua, because he submitted in that fight, Sergio. And where you have to answer is not by some sort of fake toughness, but by training and being prepared and showing your resolve every day in the gym.
And it's a hard thing to do when you've been so successful all your life, from winning a gold medal to unifying the titles, doing what you used to do, lifting weights, being muscular. But he stopped all that, and he just concentrated on boxing, and that's why he's looking so nice right now, boxing, moving around the ring, utilizing the sweet science.
And look, this is a man that was able to climb off the deck against Vladimir Klitschko, so earlier, several tens of millions of dollars ago, he did show that resolve. And right now, he is showing it tactically in the ring against the man who took his title.
Subtle feints and hard punching by Anthony Joshua. And right now, Andy Ruiz, he's trying to close the distance with no jab. Very difficult to do against a fighter that's boxing and moving laterally.
Snapping jab from Joshua, landing on Ruiz's face. Just at the moment, we saw kind of that signature three-punch combination from Ruiz, where he's very, very dangerous. Good jab by Ruiz. Let's go to Claudia Trejos. Claudia?
Thank you, BK. Robert Markakin is very clear. He wants AJ to move fast, move quick, keep the angles, throw the jab, maintain the distance, but make it quick. Use the feint in order to cut the distance and then go for the jugular. Back to you.
Claudia, thank you. That right hand just buzzing across the face of Ruiz. Just missed. But that is dangerous.
Joshua went for the jugular with that right hand right there. Just barely missed.
Joshua landing with the hook, showing a good repertoire, but he's been patient. Again, it's difficult to be patient round after round. That takes confidence. It takes an enormous amount of skill. Canelo Alvarez was able to do that against Sergey Kovalev. We thought, hey, when are you going to start winning this fight? And then when he found the time was right, he put Kovalev away.
That's a great comparison right there, because right now that might be Andy Ruiz's strategy. I don't know if it is or not, but right now I give the edge to Anthony Joshua's game plan.
Hey, what did we see for a full decade, Sergio? Another good jab from Joshua. Floyd Mayweather saying, take him into deep water and drown him. It's not going to happen all at once. Take your time. Joshua starts to up the ante.
Joshua punching with intent right now. Threw an uppercut on the inside and a double left hook. They all missed, but I love the fact that he tried it.
He goes back to moving. Ruiz is always dangerous. Chopping right hand by Ruiz. Remember, he hit him with a hook behind the ear. Changed the whole equation back at the Garden. He tries again. And on the clinch, he keeps punching.
I love that by Andy Ruiz, punching in the clinch. Let the referee separate.
10-8 in punches in that round. But in the ring generalship, you just got to see Joshua taking command, and Chris Mannix has given all 4 rounds so far to the challenger, Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I thought Andy Ruiz did some interesting things at the end of that round, but each round has looked a lot like the last, with Anthony Joshua controlling the action with the jab, and Andy Ruiz struggling to find his range.
And you can see the tactics, the strategy, and the strategy is working beautifully for Anthony Joshua. He looks like he is ready to chop up Andy Ruiz in slow motion. Do it round by round, chipping away. You can see the blood already on Ruiz, but obviously the danger is there. He showed his fighting spirit in the first fight, even getting off the deck to then drop Joshua twice in the same round. Think about that, Sergio, what it takes to do that.
It takes a lot. And right now, it takes a lot for what Anthony Joshua's doing. He's boxing, staying disciplined. On the inside, he's holding on to Ruiz, not letting him get off on those punches. Right now, executing a perfect strategy.
Absolutely. Rob McCracken said they were working on clinches, and I wonder, can you just do that? Can you just work on clinching and training, Sergio, and make it work?
Yes, you can do that. You have to do that against a fighter like Ruiz. Do not let him get the faster hands off, because let's not get it wrong here. The faster hands are by the chubbier fighter, the one that doesn't look like the faster boxer.
You know, I just wonder if you can do it successfully. So far, he has. And so far, he has shown, and that is a beautiful jab again by Joshua. He looks at least like a man who can just box the night away.
If there's one criticism of Joshua so far, it's that everything is above the neck. He's not targeting the body of Andy Ruiz, which is what you need to do if you want to wear a guy down late in the fight.
Well, I agree with you, Chris, but not this early in the fight. Wait for the body shots the second half of the fight, because right now, Ruiz throws over the shot, over punches really well, especially with speed and timing. So don't give him the opportunity to time you.
Another beautiful jab. Long, strong jab by Anthony Joshua. And when he feels the confidence, he'll wing a hook as well. Now he's smiling.
And another thing, Chris, back to the point, if you're winning rounds by not going to the body successfully, then stick to the game plan.
Another hard jab lands on the face of Ruiz. It takes tremendous concentration and discipline to be able to box like this the whole night. So far, Anthony Joshua has done so. This is doing damage.
Excellent point, Brian. There was a big difference between Kovalev's jab and AJ's jab right here. This is a smart, educated jab that Anthony Joshua's throwing.
Good hard hook by Ruiz. And a right hand answer by Joshua. Right hand to the body by Joshua. Now he's trying to get in the pocket. Does he want to trade? Can he get too brave? You can see him getting fired up, but maybe that's not the best idea. Now he goes back to the movement.
Stick to what's working. Stick to what's working here. Do not let the crowd get involved. Do not mix it up with the man with the faster hands, and that's Andy Ruiz.
You can see even there, Ruiz pawing with the jab and Joshua moving out of harm's way. If he can do that the rest of the night, the titles are his again.
I didn't think that Joshua could do this for 12 rounds, and right now it's not even halfway. It's halfway through, but if he can do it in the latter part of the fight, it's just an excellent strategy by AJ.
Rob McCracken saying, hey, look, this is a guy who had such success at mid-range on the way up, even winning an Olympic gold medal. It happened so fast that we never had time to train him as a classic amateur. Never had to, move and stick the way we see traditional tall boxers box, just like that. Could they do it in one camp so far halfway through? The answer is yes.
And this is the reason that I wasn't agreeing with Chris Mannix saying that they needed to change trainers. Robert McCracken knows his man, and right now they're executing the game plan they trained for 3 months. They're boxing, they're sticking and moving, they're feinting. They're not letting Andy Ruiz plant his heavy feet.
1 minute to go here in round 6. Anthony Joshua seemingly winning every round, and a beautiful hook snaps the head of Andy Ruiz. Wow.
You know, if you're Manny Robles in the corner of Andy Ruiz, halfway through this fight, you've got to seriously consider some kind of tactical adjustment. This strategy simply isn't working.
But you wonder if Ruiz has the conditioning to get his feet in position to land something. Again, he didn't do himself any favors. He is 16 pounds heavier than he was 6 months ago. So you see this, he's plodding forward, he's trying to move. And certainly if Joshua stands in front of him, he might get whacked. But Joshua's not doing that.
But to Chris is saying that Manny Robles and Andy Ruiz's trainer, they need a plan B right now.
Well, what's plan B?
But that's not what they trained for. Andy Ruiz has only had one style. He baits the opponents in to counter you with the faster punches. He doesn't look like the faster, stronger fighter, but he is.
Joshua trying to hold there. Ruiz is going to take every opportunity. Luis Pavon says, no, don't do that on the clinch, but well, he's got to say stop punching. Otherwise, Ruiz can keep throwing. Final seconds of round 6, all Anthony Joshua.
Joshua, at this point of his career, he can be hurt. Obviously, he can be knocked down. If you're Andy Ruiz, I think at some point soon, you got to let your hands go.
It's hard to let your hands go when you don't have a stationary target in front of you. You have a powerful, agile, athletic, former champion in front of you. It's very difficult.
And the big question was, can Anthony Joshua fight at long distance? 93% of this fight has been fought at distance, according to CompuBox.
My question wasn't whether he can fight at distance. He's an Olympic gold medalist. Of course he can. My question was, can he move laterally, stick and move, feint, do exactly what he's doing right now? The answer is yes.
Well, he fought a good hook by Joshua. He fought small, though, first time against Ruiz. Remember, he was bending down to his height. He is fighting very tall here tonight. He looks to clinch. Ruiz will have none of it. An admonishment from Pavon. Real-time odds from MGM Resorts, and now Anthony Joshua is the heavy favorite. Jab and move all night long by Joshua, and it has been extremely effective.
I wondered whether Anthony Joshua could float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. For 7 rounds, so far he is.
Just there with the right hand.
Oof, he just missed with that right hand. That's a second right hand that he just barely missed with.
Yeah, you know Joshua would love to do something emphatic, but that is just what got him in trouble 6 months ago. So he should or you would figure Rob McCracken and his team would want him to be satisfied with what's happening now. But he's got to be tempted, Sergio, right? When you've got a wounded man in front of you, you see the face puffing up on Ruiz, to throw something like that. Get in close and trade.
But Joshua learned his lesson from the first fight. Forget the bravado, stick and move, box. Let Ruiz come forward and make the mistake.
And Joshua able to clinch there and hold back Ruiz. Ruiz well within his rights to try to throw when he's getting clinched.
Notice every time Joshua lands a big punch, he still doesn't come forward. He stays disciplined and continues boxing on his back foot behind the jab.
That's the first time I saw Joshua actually spring in and clinch. Pavon should actually warn Joshua for that.
One thing Joshua knows at this point, Andy Ruiz, great chin, one of the best chins in all the heavyweight division.
Joshua pounding his chest, just full of confidence, spring on a step, fighting behind the jab, sticking to the strategy.
And you saw Ruiz there lunging. Oh, he eats a right hand. Beautiful right by Joshua. And trading with the hook, that was dangerous. Joshua, again, able to avoid that hook just seconds ago, but Ruiz able to land there.
And smothering. As soon as Ruiz wanted to let go of his punches, smothered and extinguished that.
And that's some frustration on the part.
Many of them are ex-fighters, so when Anthony Joshua catches their eye during a clinch, they're all standing up to offer their own advice.
Where is the journalistic integrity, I wonder? Round 8, and every round so far, according to Chris Mannix, going to Anthony Joshua. We concur. Sergio, I don't mean to speak for you, but I would believe you would say that as well.
I don't agree with Chris Mannix much, but I agree this time.
Let's go to Claudia Trejos.
BK, McCracken is sure that this is the fight plan necessary. This was the fight plan that was supposed to be implemented on the first fight back on June 1st. Stay long, keep the jab, and always look for that opportunity. And when he's actually coming in, Andy, they just have to smother him, shorten him, just do not let him out. But stay tall and stay long. That was the fight plan in the first fight, and now he's actually sticking to it.
Claudia, thank you. Well, that's what we heard, especially in the one-night documentary that we have on DAZN, the Sly Stallone film. You could hear that was what they were saying to Joshua in the corner, but Joshua was just not locked in that night. I mean, he was spacey. He walked in just looking around like he was the king, and he found that you have to prove it in the ring every night.
I already see two things that Andy Ruiz is doing different in this round. He's forgetting about the head. He's throwing the right hands to the body. It's a great strategy. Just keep aiming for the body.
Well, Manny Robles told us that they saw a hole in Anthony Joshua in the 6th round back in the first fight. Right hand by Ruiz.
That was a chopping right hand to the top of Anthony Joshua's head.
You know, that's at least the second time that Andy Ruiz has clipped Joshua with something of a cheap shot during a tie-up or a clinch, and Joshua seems to be getting a little bit frustrated with it.
Oh, no question. Look, at the end of that last round, I just mentioned it wasn't a big deal, but Andy Ruiz just took a swipe clearly after the bell had rung. He is very frustrated in the ring, lands the right hand to the body, and what I was going to say, Sergio, you're right. Manny Robles had said, hey, we saw a hole in that 6th round, which you might remember looked good for Anthony Joshua, but they said we saw Ruiz was able to have success to the body, and that's a hard right hand off the hook by Ruiz. Here's Ruiz, big chance. He swats him with the right hand as well.
This is Ruiz starts fighting his fight. Do not punch in between the shots of the faster fighter.
What does Joshua do now? Does he engage? Does he try to mix it up, or does he stand back and jab?
Stand back and jab, exactly what he's been doing. Do not switch it, mix it up with the faster fighter.
Manny Robles said, hey, it's round 8. He meant round 1, but in round 8, his man comes alive.
This is the best round for Ruiz.
Ruiz roughing things up here every time he gets in. And look, that's within his right. It's up to the referee, and that jab landed, and he blocked the hook. But every time he goes in, gets strafing hook by Ruiz. But it's up to the referee to say break and stop punching. Until then, Andy Ruiz can punch.
No, Ruiz doing the right thing, too. He's not letting Joshua hold on anymore. He's pushing him.
Well, the Heavyweight Championship of the World, round 9, getting late in this fight. It's been mostly all Anthony Joshua, and there Chris Mannix, I think, reflecting the change in the fight, giving the first round of the night to the heavyweight champion, Andy Ruiz.
Yeah, one thing I think both fighters should know right now is Louis Pabon, the referee, sometimes he yells stop, but then doesn't really get in the middle of them. So you got to protect yourself at all times in those situations, because Louis is going to take some time to get in there.
No, I agree. This time I do agree with you, Chris. He's fine. He doesn't know whether to stop the action or let him fight. Maybe it's because Ruiz is punching in between the shots and he doesn't want to get clipped by a punch.
This time he was definitive. And you see the power punches landed in favor of Andy Ruiz, heavily in favor of Ruiz in that last round. Good stick by Joshua again, able to snap the head back with a jab. Varying it now with the hook as well. Joshua back on his bike. Nothing says you need to fight Mexicans, so to speak. Right, Sergio? You don't have to stand in and trade. Some guys like that. Joshua fell in love with his own power, but that's also extremely effective. Stand on the outside and pop and snap that jab.
I am of Mexican descent, and I made a career not fighting in the Mexican style.
Ruiz again winging those shots. Always danger. Nice jab again by Joshua.
You know, some people stick and move, some people go punch for punch. Right now, this is the strategy that Anthony Joshua needs to do to win against the Mexican fighter. Stick and move. Do not engage. Do not fight the Mexicans fight.
And yet he's able to keep him honest. That was a good right hand to the body by Joshua. And now Ruiz actually stops moving. He's tired of chasing Joshua. Maybe you stand in the ring and you wave him forward. You know, Chris Eubanks style. Say, come to me once in a while.
It's frustrating. Whenever you get a fighter floating like a butterfly, moving around, sticky, not wanting to engage, it's very frustrating. Not only for Andy Ruiz, but for the fans and everyone involved. But all that matters is winning.
Ruiz refusing to be held, as is his right in the ring.
Yeah, Joshua can't get lazy with those tie-ups. He's going to tie up Andy Ruiz. He's got to grab him with both hands. Don't give Ruiz a chance to flurry off those clinches.
And we're going to see the conditioning or lack thereof from Ruiz now as we get into the final rounds, because he is going to have to keep that fight and just hope that it might be one time where he can pop Joshua as he eats an uppercut. But now he wings back. Oh, the right hand chopping from Ruiz. That landed hard. Joshua back on his toes.
And the difference between fight one and fight two, right there, Anthony Joshua landed a big right hand, but did not engage. He fell off balance and backed off again.
This is the discipline we were talking about. Joshua able to get hit, but in this time he didn't wobble, he didn't go down. Instead he went back to the proper tactics, fighting at distance.
Fighting a smart fight. Catching Andy Ruiz with big punches and letting him come to him. Back up, keep boxing, keep discipline.
Shot and is able to land on Joshua. I'm waiting for Joshua to go down or be hurt, and that has not happened here tonight. Round 10 scheduled, of course, for the championship 12. Chris Mannix giving Ruiz that last round. I don't know. How do you justify that, Chris, given the early work by Joshua with the jab?
I thought he did well with the jab, but we didn't show a lot of those combinations that Ruiz landed. Consequential combination that buckled Joshua. I thought he landed the more impactful punches in that 9th round.
There's a good right hand by Ruiz.
Joshua needs to bend his knees and fight a little bit smaller now. Ruiz, the shorter man, already got the distance and the height of Joshua. He's already timing the movement, so it'll be smart for Joshua to bend the knees and fight a little bit smaller now.
Andy Ruiz told us, hey, I see openings. That led to his 7th round explosion. He sees something and his hands just move. He is able to really just let it go when he sees an opening and he has his man hurt. Anthony Joshua has made that nearly impossible tonight for him to sustain that, but you know it is always there. The possibility of Ruiz opening up the arsenal.
Ruiz is looking for a counter right hand over a lazy jab of Joshua. Joshua just better keep that stick sharp and laser focused, because Ruiz is looking to counter. He's inching his way in. If you notice his feet, Ruiz's feet, he's inching his way in, trying to look for an overhand right over a lazy jab of Joshua.
And the real-time odds you see from MGM, Anthony Joshua now a prohibitive favorite as he built up a points lead. Again, you can call them the championship rounds, but every round goes in the books. The judges hand them in, and they're gone. And you would figure that Joshua has piled up a big lead here tonight.
Ruiz told us that he can't let Anthony Joshua grow bravado, and bravado wasn't the word that he chose, but right now, Anthony Joshua boxing with confidence, with swag, behind the jab, and sticking to his game plan, which is most important.
Ruiz fighting out of the clinch. Joshua's feet always on the move. Very different fighter. Able to make the adjustment in style. And really showing Sergio the championship pedigree so far.
Not standing in front of Ruiz, not letting him plant his feet. Just, I keep repeating, it's just strategy at its best. He's sticking, he's moving, he's boxing, but he got the respect of Ruiz with those right hands. That's what I want to see, some jabs to the chest and to the belly of Ruiz. You got to alternate it because you don't want to get timed with a jab.
Well, you know, again, Manny Robles had said he wanted to get inside earlier, and you pointed out, Sergio, in that last round, Ruiz having success with his shots to the body, but we didn't see it here.
Because Anthony Joshua was on his toes, sticking and moving.
We fought 10 here for the heavyweight champion situation. He said, I had to confront my own friends. I had to go back to the gym. Because it is, Sergio, embarrassing, humiliating to be laid out and beaten down and having everything taken from you. Well, the last 6 months he has devoted himself and is in position to get his world championships back. Chris Mannix giving that last 10th round to Anthony Joshua.
You know, there'll be a lot of people watching this fight that might be dissatisfied with it if Joshua continues and wins fighting like this, but this is what you have to do. When you go up against an opponent with a granite chin and better hand speed than you, this is exactly the kind of fight you have to do.
Yeah, there's always going to be some criticism, but I don't see how it could be warranted, Chris, to your point. Nice jab again, given what he went through the first time out being stunned, and then coming out and executing a boxing plan beautifully. I know, like, you know, the Klitschko brothers were criticized for years for doing that, but he hasn't stunk the place out. He's boxed beautifully. There's a difference.
And Chris, he wanted Anthony Joshua to change trainers and look for a new strategy. This is exactly what he needed. He stayed with Robert McCracken, and he's fighting an Emmanuel Stewart type fight without changing trainers.
All right, let's be clear. I suggested that he think about changing trainers. I didn't walk up to him and say, go change trainers.
Sergio, I'm going to have to take a point away. Next time. Round 11. Anthony Joshua boxing beautifully, showing range, movement. Said, I have to be the smart fighter. He has done that tonight. But he's also landed his share of leather. It's not as if he's in there. There's another beautiful jab. Look, you can land jabs like that and then be on the move. You don't have to stand there and trade. He said, if I stick to my plan, if I box, opportunities will present themselves. He's engaged here and there, but he has wisely moved out when Ruiz starts winging that hook.
And wisely clinched every time Andy Ruiz got inside. Like right there, they got inside and Ruiz pushed them off.
And look at him pop the jab out again. Ruiz's head just bounces back off that jab. That last CompuBox number we had, jabs 49-21 in favor of Anthony Joshua.
You know, while Joshua didn't change chief strategist, Sergio, he did add 2 new voices in his corner. One of those voices was a trainer that has a bit of a history at the Kronk Gym. And as we know from watching Emmanuel Stewart's fighters over the years, the Kronk Gym, they fight off the jab extremely well.
Another jab, bouncing the head back. British fans are chanting. Ruiz is frustrated, always advancing, but unable to have success. Another jab lands from Joshua.
Whoever was wondering if Joshua can be on his bike, sticking and moving, fighting discipline behind the jab. 11 rounds in so far, he's been doing just that.
He has showed focus. He has showed growth. Even after being at the pinnacle, being the #1 heavyweight in the world, widely regarded at least, and being a heavyweight champion with several of the belts, he has been able to change after adversity, after embarrassment.